All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of It Was a Thing on TV. Now, before we start this episode, I want to mention, starting in the new year, we're going to make some changes to the show. Now, if you're listening to the Friday drops on PlayStation Nation, we're going to be ending those drops at the end of December. Now, I talked to Andy Afferton about it, so I figured that at this point, I think we're going to be fine doing these episodes ourselves on our own channel. We've done everything we can for PlayStation Nation over the last 4 years, and we wish them well, but I think we decided it's time to go into a different direction on our own, so we figured we're going to end the drops, and you'll just be getting the episodes on our feed on Podbean Monday and Thursdays. So that's going to be one change we're going to be having at the start of the year. Now, the second change we're going to have at the start of 2025 is we're going to be adding another contributor to the show. We haven't decided what we're going to do yet, but if you're interested in wanting to contribute to the show in any way possible, let us know.
You can hit us up on all of our socials at It Was a Thing on TV or on Facebook at It Was a Thing on TV podcast. Drop us a DM, let us know you're interested, and we will take you under advisement when you do so. And we thank you in advance for doing so.
I'm going to throw out another method that we haven't really even promoted over the last 5 years. We do have email addresses. If you contact us at contact@itwasathingontv.com, I will definitely check that email box.
Or itwasathingontv@gmail.com.
Either way, both accounts will be looked at. And yes, we'll give everybody a fair shot. We are looking for somebody who has a breadth of knowledge, not somebody who's just focused on one genre, for example. And we are looking for somebody who can participate in our little antics and whatnot without sort of overtaking the show. I don't want to say know your role, but know your role is not necessarily the worst way of describing it.
We're basically looking for somebody who shares our love of bad, short-lived, forgotten, and indeed forgettable television.
And if you're morbidly obese, that puts you at the front of the line.
Sure.
I need to make some lifestyle changes.
I had one too many cheese Danishes. What was in that Danish? I got a problem with cheese. And if you've got a problem with cheese, drop us a line. We'll consider adding you to the show, and you can worry about your own lactose issues. Hey, new episode starts now. An anthology on the bad, the short-lived, and the forgotten shows and events in television history. This is It Was a Thing on TV.
C, you would write poetry, believe it or not. Therefore, our continuing champions are the Hunts with 300 with how many points? I don't know.
Episode 513, submission number 473, Max Headroom, the TV series. Max Headroom aired on ABC from March 31st of 1987 to May 5th of 1988 for a total of 14 episodes, one of which went unaired. So that's 87.5% of a crock block, 14 out of 16. Hey, that's not a bad grade. That's a B+. I wish the show was a B+, but that's just my opinion.
My opinion's the only one that counts.
Hey, who wants to hear an opening?
I do.
I see what you did there, Mike.
I certainly know what to do with this opening sequence.
I wish Greg actually had like a little buffering icon, the little circle going around him. I want to see those sequence.
Here we are in the mid to late 80s, and computer graphics are all the rage. I mean, I remember discussing the movie with the first ever computer-generated imagery, or CGI, if you will, Westworld, which we talked about in previous entry, Beyond Westworld. But that aside, computers have come a long way since then, especially in 1987, where they have become commonplace to the point where one of the presenters of The Price is Right in the mid-80s was indeed computerized. I speak, of course, of the Johnny Olsen robot.
Yes, I had my own robot on The Price is Right.
Did the robot run the marathon as Boy George?
No, it could barely run like 5 miles per hour.
There's an opportunity lost. I'm sorry.
In 1985, what better way to capitalize off of this new wave of imagery than to bring forth the world's first computer-generated TV presenter, created by George Stone, Annabelle Yankel, and Rocky Morton for British television.
Wait, Rocky Morton. Is he any relation to Ricky Morton from the Rock and Roll Express?
No.
Oh, damn it.
Ricky Morton is not British.
Yeah, I know, but he might have had a British relative for all I know.
And making his debut in April of 1985 on Channel 4 in the British-made cyberpunk TV movie of the same name was Max Headroom.
Why'd you sound like Conky from Pee-wee's Playhouse there? Hey, Pee-wee!
Yeah.
Come play with me!
Max Headroom, before he was put on air as the world's first computer-generated TV host, he was actually put in a movie. More on that later. Max is known for having biting commentary on a variety of topical issues, including politics, pop culture, sex, drugs, rock and roll. His arrogant wit, stuttering, and pitch-shifting voice made him a favorite of millions. But if you thought he was indeed the world's first computer-generated TV presenter,
Somebody's got to reboot Chico. Jeez.
We gotta unplug him and put him back in again.
yeah, if you thought he was computer-generated, first of all, you wouldn't be the first one. And second of all, he was not. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your point of view, it was actually Canadian actor Matt Frewer in latex makeup, prosthetics, and a plastic suit. Put him in front of a green screen with psychedelic background graphics, do some harsh lighting, harsher editing, and you have the illusion of a CG character. Before he was put on television as a TV presenter, his origin story was explained in the movie that was broadcast on Channel 4 in 1985, Max Headroom, 20 minutes into the future. The story goes like this. Edison Carter is a journalist fleeing enemies into a parking garage, crashing his motorcycle through the entrance barrier, reading Max Headroom 2.3 meters. This is all in the future where television is not just highly regulated, but also government controlled. And amongst the biggest networks of government control is Network 23, beamed on your television 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with absolutely zero way of turning off your television. If it was not allowed, it was highly illegal. While Carter is unconscious, an AI program based on his mind is created. The AI develops a personality identified as Max Headroom, as that is the only thing that Edison could say once he is roused. And Max Headroom becomes a TV host who exists only on broadcast signals and computer systems. Like Carter, Max openly challenges the corporations that run his world, but using commentary and sarcastic wit rather than journalism. Because, hey, even in the 80s, people are absolute nitwits who will not get the hint. So 2 days after that movie was broadcast, we have the premiere of The Max Headroom Show. It's a music video show. It has commentary on topics. It interviews guests. Think about it as a Space Ghost Coast to Coast, but instead of a cartoon character, we have Matt Frewer in a whole lot of makeup. That lasted 3 years, give or take. In its second and third season, it was simulcast on Cinemax because HBO, the sister network to Cinemax, was actually helping to fund the whole thing. It turned Max into a global icon to the point where he became the de facto spokesperson for the new taste of Coca-Cola, or at least the one that we can at least talk about now. That show lasted 2 or 3 years, and after that show was canceled, ABC bought into a dramatic retelling of that story in sort of a steampunk action-adventure sci-fi comedy pastiche. The series would return Carter and Max challenging the status quo in a near-future cyberpunk dystopia, now portraying them as allies and providing a slightly altered version of the origin. How did we get to Max Headroom?
Yes, how did we get to Max Headroom?
Excuse me, I have to bump Greg's window Fonzie style. Hey!
Hey!
I don't know how many of our listeners read Doonesbury on the regular, or at least read Doonesbury on the regular back in the day, but most of Max Headroom's mannerisms were taken from Ron Headrest of Doonesbury fame, Ronald Reagan, which, let's be honest, everybody had their own Ron Reagan impersonation.
Master Chico does.
Oh yes, I like the jelly beans. I also like Max Headroom and the Pink Panther and all of that stuff.
Somebody's got to reboot Ronald Reagan while we're at it.
Hold on, I got a question. If only Max knew about Nancy's, yeah.
I have no idea.
I'm not touching that because I've got things to say, but I want to stay on the show.
We've got to talk about the movie that sort of set the stage for the show. Pretty much summed it up with that whole intro. It was basically an origin story featuring Matt Frewer as Max Headroom and 2 additional actors as support. Deora Jones was played by Amanda Pays. We talked about her on The Flash. And then we have a character named Blank Reg. We'll talk more about these characters later on as we talk about the series. But Blank Reg was played by somebody that at least Greg and I know. William Morgan Shepherd. What hasn't he done, really? I remember him as Canton Everett Delaware III on the first ever Doctor Who serial to be taped in America. The Impossible Astronaut.
Oh, yeah.
Wait a second. He was on an episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Season 7, episode 10, How Mac Got Fat.
Oh, what a great episode, How Mac Got Fat. Because everybody in the gang wanted to get avatars, like in the movie Avatar. But Mac was the only one who went through it, and he got fat.
William Morgan Shepherd played Father Cullen in that episode.
Yes, that's who Mac confessed that he got fat to.
By the way, Matt Frewer did talk about playing Max Headroom. He said, I particularly wanted to get that phony bonhomie of Ted Baxter of the Mary Tyler Moore Show. Max always assumes a decade-long friendship on the first meeting. At first sight, he'll ask about that blackhead on your nose. he was given a few lines of dialogue and then encouraged to improvise as he saw fit, something that he would do when the show, both the Max Headroom show and this Max Headroom, went into production. All of Max's plays off of character are very, very extemporaneous, off the top of the dome. I want to say at least half of it was scripted, but the other half off the top of his head.
Did we even talk about who is playing Max Headroom?
Yes, Matt Frewer.
But have we said what he's maybe better known for?
No, we have not.
I personally remember him outside of Max Headroom as being the lead on the TV show Dr. Doctor, which we're going to cover one day. I didn't know Dr. Doctor ran for 40 episodes. That's going to be a little bit of a haul.
I hope it won't be for a long, long time, if you know what I mean.
Am I supposed to cue up John Davidson here?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
If you're watching us for the first time, maybe you don't know, this is our very first show, but we plan to be here for a very long time.
You know who Matt Frewer also was, aside from Dr. Doctor? Later episodes of Orphan Black, the good version, not the reboot, was also the voice of the Pink Panther in the 1990s.
Oh, yeah, that did happen. Oh, wait, we forgot to mention he was in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Was he one of the adults?
Yeah, he was the next door neighbor to Rick Moranis.
No, he was a kid. What do you think he was? Of course he's an adult.
Okay. Okay, so.
Okay, in retrospect, that was a stupid question. But anyhow.
In the not too distant future, we talked about Network 23, broadcast 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with no way of turning off your television set. They protect, they consolidate the government's power, and television technology is advanced to the point where viewers' physical movements and thoughts can be monitored through your sets. Gee, that doesn't sound prophetic. Anyway, the only real check on the television power is Edison Carter, who reprises his role as an investigative journalist who comes out of his coma after he is digitized into Max Headroom. Together with Max, Edison regularly exposes the unethical practices of his own employer, Network 23, and the team of allies both inside and outside the system to assist him in getting his reports to air and protecting him from the forces that wish to either drive him out of town or drive him into the ground. Because let's be honest, if you have something to say about the government in this universe, the government is going to kill you. So who do we have in this fight for intellectual freedom? First off, we have Edison Carter, a journalist played by Frewer, a hard-hitting reporter for Network 23 who sometimes uncovered things that his superiors in the network would have preferred to be best kept private. He cares about his coworkers, especially Deora Jones and Bryce Lynch, and has a deep respect for his producer, Murray. But don't tell Murray that. His digital avatar, Max Headroom, we talked about him. He's basically a copy of Edison, although basically functioning as Edison's id. He's saying the things that Edison wants to say. But aside from giving his name to the title of the show, he basically takes a back seat. While he occasionally plays a significant part in a role, his most frequent role was comic relief. Deora Jones, Network 23 star controller stolen from the World 1 network by Murray, working with Edison, is a star reporter, often saving the day for everybody. She was a potential love interest for Edison that didn't go anywhere quickly. Deora Jones, played by Amanda Pays, who reprises her role from the movie. We've seen her before on The Flash.
Chico's connection died, So I'm going to give you a little description as to Nick's character, Ben Cheviot, who was an executive on Network 23's board of directors.
Cheviot is played by George Coe, who is one of the original not ready for primetime players on Saturday Night Live. And when I say one of the original, I mean first episode original.
Yeah, I don't think he lasted too long on Saturday Night Live. Maybe he's like one of the people featured in that Saturday Night movie, which I think is now coming out on VOD, although I have not watched it yet.
Bryce Lynch is a child prodigy and computer hacker and Network 23's one-man technology research department. After the first episode, Bryce is generally recruited by Carter and the controller, Theora Jones, to provide technical aid in their investigative reporting efforts. He is played by Chris Young, who has gone on to 2 other series, Live-In and Married People, but that's as extensive as his regular series career goes. I mean, he's done other things for other places, but mostly in either a directorial role or as a voice artist. Mackenzie is Carter's serious and high-strung producer, whose job often becomes a balancing act between supporting Carter's stories and pleasing Network 23's executives. He was also a field reporter in his younger days and may have had some experience with the systems of a controller. Murray is played by Jeffrey Tambor.
Just going to say it right now. He's going to be in the hall in March. I don't think there's any way we can keep him out of the hall.
Reg is a blank, a person not indexed in the government's database. He broadcasts the underground big-time television network from his bus, and he's a good friend of Edison Carter, saving him on more than one occasion. Like Reg, played again by William Morgan Shepard. He's done everything from Doctor Who to NCIS and all things in between. His son, Mark Shepard, was the original voice of BBC America. Recurring villain of the series, Ned Grossberg, the chairman of Network 23. He was played by Nicholas Grace in the movie, but in the series, he was played by another Saturday Night Live veteran, Charles Rocket.
Does he know on the series who the F did it?
Thank you, Greg. Go back to SNL 80 if you're wondering what Greg's referring to.
We have some recurring characters on this show. Dominique, the co-proprietor of Big Time TV, and paramour of Blake Reg, played by Conchetta Tomei. Bruegel, an intelligent sociopathic criminal for hire, played by Jerry Burns. Mahler, Bruegel's accomplice, played by Rick Dukeman. A streetwise pedicab driver named Rick, played by J.W. Smith. Blank Bruno, Bryce's mentor, played by Peter Crook. Blank Tracker, played by Brian Brophy in Season 1 and Michael Preston in Season 2. Martinez, played by Ricardo Gutierrez, a helicopter pilot for Network 23. Lisa Niemi, playing J.D. Crane, also of Network 23. Angie Berry, played by Rosalind Chow. Joel Dung Po, played by Rob Narita. And Julia Formby, played by Virginia Kaiser. And Mr. Bartlett, played by a pre-Babylon 5 Andreas Katsoulis.
With those folks out of the way, let's go to the episodes.
Like we said before, there are 2 condensed seasons of 7 episodes each. And the first episode was essentially a retelling of the 20 Minutes into the Future movie. It's called Blitverts. Top TV reporter Max Edison discovers Network 23 is experimenting with advertising that is lethal to some viewers. Your Blitverts will beam an ad into your brain, and if your brain is not strong enough, your head's going to explode. Quite literally. His boss tries to kill him and copy his mind to a controllable simulation, but Edison survives and Max Headroom is born. Playing Florence in this episode, Billy Bird from Benson and Dear John, among others. Episode 2, Rakers. Theora's brother gets involved in raking, a violent underground sport that is a cross between skateboarding and roller derby. So, the joust from Skate or Die then.
Oh man, I could have gotten the G-Man to talk about this because he knows all about that in Skate or Die. Do you remember like the joust game in Skate or Die would be like they were like on top of like the pool, right? And they would just like slide and they'd like try to hit each other, right?
Yeah, that's exactly how the joust works. I have to bring this up. Arsenio Sonny Trinidad, not necessarily a known commodity, but I want to bring up his character name. It is, are you ready for this?
Oh, what's the character name?
Ped Zing. As in, Ped Crossing.
Okay.
Continuing the joke made by the actual name of Max Headroom. Because if you remember, Max Headroom was a street sign. Episode 3, Body Banks. While Max attempts to fill the many gaps in his and Edison's memory, a young woman goes missing, and revealing the shadowy world of involuntary organ donation. Episode 4, Security Systems. The CEO of Security Systems, the world's largest security center, fears there may be danger behind the possible purchase of her company by an unknown buyer. I'm guessing this is the lady who is the CEO of Security Systems, Valerie Town, played by Carol Mayo Jenkins, known for being in all 107 episodes of Fame. Episode 5, War. Edison and the Network 23 team are dumbfounded when a lesser rival network appears to be always at the scenes of recent terrorist attacks for the big ratings drawing exclusives. Leading the rivals of that network is Croyd Hauser, played by Robert O'Reilly, best known for Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Star Trek The Next Generation, the interactive VHS board game.
Oh, I had that VHS board game. It was terrible. Let me just say it right now. The ending to the Star Trek The Next Generation VHS board game, where you quote-unquote lose, is the most hilarious ending I've ever seen to a board game ever. If you know, you know. Ah!
He didn't even play Gowron in that game, if I'm not mistaken. Episode 6, The Blanks. A group of unidentified anarchists, who are known only as the Blanks, terrorize the city's central computer systems. And that was the first season. 6 episodes in season 1, all of them taking place on Wednesday nights at 10, right after Moonlighting, which is a pretty plum spot if you can get it.
Well, not just that. After Moonlighting, that entire night for ABC was pretty stacked. Because at 8 o'clock you had Who's the Boss, and at 8:30 you had Growing Pains. I said at 8:30 it was Growing Pains.
Yeah, that's right. Max Headroom was on the same night as my show.
Alan, it's good to talk to you.
Well, you know, guys, I got a big bet going on for tonight's Calgary Flames game. I have a big parlay going on tonight.
How is that parlay doing?
Oh, I gotta check for 1 second. By the way, guys, I told you that I have like an addiction to Keno, right?
First time hearing of it.
Yeah, all of us Canadians would love to play Keno. Isn't that right, Mike?
Why Keno?
Why not? It's a good game. It's a game of chance. It's like bingo. Oh, well, they just got underway in Calgary. I have Dustin Wolf having like 35 saves tonight on DraftKings.
Now, I'm surprised, Alan, that you didn't put a wager on the Mike Tyson-Jake Paul match.
Oh, I do have a bet on that. I have like $6 million on Mike Tyson winning. Alan, I got a question. Why would you waste $6 million on an exhibition fight between Logan Paul's brother and Mike Tyson? Oh, well, I got a whole bunch of money that I have. Like, well, you don't want to know how much I got this money. I got like maybe about $20 million when Thick of the Night got canceled. Like the syndicator said, all right, Alan, we don't want to do this shit anymore. Here's like all the money. You can just go F off and go back to Canada. So they gave me all this money, and I don't know what I have to do with it. So I was just saving it for like a rainy day. But Alan, if Mike Tyson wins this fight, you're gonna make a hell of a lot of money. You do know that. Yeah, I do know that.
May I chime in with my favorite prop bet for this boxing match? This is at plus 900, so this is like 9-1 odds. You're getting plus 900 on Mike Tyson biting Jake Paul's ear. I would pay to see that happen. I don't care if it happens or not. I would put a lot of money on that for the entertainment value.
Look directly into your set.
That's the undercard.
Yes,
Yeah,
we have
undercard.
Who cares about that?
Second of 4 undercards.
They got 4. Hold on, they got 4 undercard matches for this shit.
My mistake. They have 3 undercards. This is the second one that's playing right now. 12 rounds, and they're only on round 3. Somebody kill somebody. Anyway,
just let it take its time. Mike Tyson will bite off Jake Paul's ear soon enough and make some people very happy and rich.
we should mention we do not condone gambling. We practice it, but we do not condone it.
No, we all do gambling except Greg because he's a pussy. That's right, Alan. I don't gamble at all. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. Don't spend your money on gambling sports.
Yeah, I don't gamble on sports either, so I think Chico's speaking for himself there when he's talking about gambling on sports, because...
Well, you're a fucking asshole, Mike, that you don't gamble.
I don't gamble on sports.
Okay, Alan, you know what I gamble on if you've listened to this podcast long enough. Alan and Ginter sports cards!
How come I'm not in that set?
That's a good question.
Hold that thought. Wouldn't it be funny if he actually had a card in Alan and Ginter in like 2008 or 2009? I'm actually taking a look here. I know he hasn't had a card, but dang it, I'm going to try.
Well, you do know that Tubs had their own set of growing pains cards back in the day.
That's a subject for another episode.
I'm sorry, Alan, you were not in Alan and Ginter.
Okay, where we? Oh yeah,
We're in season. No, I'm sorry. We're
talking about ratings and the schedule.
right. We're talking about ratings in the schedule. Boy, awkward transition time. ABC had a very stacked lineup, especially for the mid to late 80s. Who's the Boss, Growing Pains, Moonlighting, and now you have Max Headroom, who's maybe one of the biggest personalities in television in the world, if you think about it, given his exposure and how popular he was. In terms of competition at 10 p.m. on Tuesday nights, NBC had Hill Street Blues. This would have been the last season, I believe, because it ended in 87. We talked about that when we talked about Beverly Hills Bunts, because there was no crossover between Hill Street Blues and Beverly Hills Bunts. So this is literally end of the road for Hill Street Blues. CBS's competition for the hour was just the second hour of a movie. In terms of ratings, obviously they were good enough to merit a second season. It started out really hot. I don't have the exact numbers with me, but I believe in the first week, it was a top 20 show, maybe even a top 15 show. Actually, it looks like for the first week, out of 66 shows, Max Headroom came in at 26th. So not bad for a premiere, especially a premiere at 10 p.m. By comparison, that same week, Hill Street Blues was 47th. The ratings in subsequent weeks for the second episode, there were 70 shows. and it came in 46th. So it went from mid-20s to mid-40s in 1 week. That's not really a good sign. And from other weeks I saw in that first season, the ratings were pretty much in the same area, in the 40s out of 70 shows. I got a week here for May of 87, and it was 45th for the week, tied with Spencer for Hire. And again, it's out of 70 shows. So maybe it's just got enough life to survive for a second season. Actually, I got a week here. This would be, I believe, the 4th episode out of 7. Again, 70 shows. You can't say that they're not consistent. 70 shows that week. Max Headroom was 16th. 16th after about a month. So things are looking really good.
Good enough to warrant a second season anyway. And we're going to talk about that second season, right now. Episode 1 of Season 2, Academy. While Blank Reg publicly fights for his freedom and his life for a crime he didn't commit, Diara recruits Bryce to help track down the real culprits. But does Bryce know more about the advanced tech crime than he's willing to admit? Playing Partridge, one of the students in the Academy, is Maya Stark. We talked about Maya Stark in the previous entry, Jennifer Slept Here. She was the precocious little sister of John Navin Jr.'s character. Episode 2, Deities. An old flame of Edison's, who has become the leader of a controversial New Age church, desperately wants Max's technology to help the church fulfill its shallow promises of a computer-enhanced afterlife. Oh, so it's basically Upload then. Playing Gregory in this episode, It Was a Thing on TV Hall of Famer Gregory Itzin.
Oh, what a stretch. He played a guy with his first name. Well, actually, it's not really a stretch because I don't think he ever, before or after, played somebody with the same first name. But you should really address him by his proper name. And that's that bastard Charles Logan, Chico.
No, that's not his name. His real name is that bastard who broke that guy's kneecap on Few.
Nobody other than you knows that, Mike.
Really? I bet you if I go on YouTube right now, there will be people saying, hey, that's Greg Itzin. That's that bastard Charles Logan. Yeah, I'm actually looking it up right now. Hold on.
The View Age Church, the name of the church in this episode, in terms of airtime and ad rates, is supposedly bigger than Islam, Judaism, IBM, Scientology, and all but 2 Christian denominations. Projected to surpass Catholicism and the 700 Club within a year.
Did you say the New Age Church, Chico?
The View Age Church.
Oh, I thought this was going to be a church where everyone worshiped Billy Gunn and the road dog Jesse James.
I have the YouTube comments up. I shouldn't be surprised Greg Itzin was a good looker in his youth, but damn.
Damn.
Who knew that Gregory would play a VP in 24? R.I.P. Gregory Itzin. Wait, Greg Itzin? Is that character actor Gregory Itzin from Star Trek in 24?
Yes.
Yes, you're correct. I'm also from Wisconsin, and I can confirm that he is the person that you spoke of. So don't tell me that people don't know who Gregory Itzin is.
No, I didn't say that. I said that you would only know him from Few breaking that guy's leg, which I say is total BS.
I know him as that bastard Charles Logan, too. I just remember his secondary role of injuring that guy on Few by using mental telepathy or something.
Hey, guys, you're talking about Few. You know I did the music for that,
We
right?
did the music for Few!
Hey, how did your bet turn out for the hockey game?
The game's still going on, you jackass.
I told you should have put your money on Mike Tyson biting off Jake Paul's ear.
Well, that's my regret.
Still hasn't happened yet, guys.
Well, the fight still hasn't happened yet. Yeah, at the time we're recording this. Alan, just go back and play your Keno game, okay? I don't want you anywhere near the set. Just get out.
The leader of the church, a lady by the name of Vanna Smith, is played by Dale Haddon, who was a member of Le Grand Ballet Canadien at 13 and was Miss Montreal at 18, parlaying that into a career in modeling. Episode 3, Grossberg's Return. Grossberg wages a grim vendetta against Edison and Network 23 by taking firm control of their arch rival, Network 66.
Hold on. Network 66? Is it named after Fat Man 66? Was this a tribute? Because as we all know, in our future, there's a prequel to Jake and the Fat Man called Fat Man 66. So this network was like, you know what? This is the greatest show ever, Fat Man 66. Let's make our network called Network 66. And for those who don't know what we're talking about with Fat Man 66, go back to the episode where we talked about Double Trouble, please.
Does Network 66 have a problem with cheese?
You know what Network 66 doesn't do? They don't throw burritos on the ground when they buy it. Wasted a perfectly goddamn good burrito, Frank Cannon.
Go listen to the end of the previous episode in August. Or better yet, just go on YouTube, search for Burrito Cannon, knock yourself out.
Episode 4, Dream Thieves. Following the death of an old colleague who was found literally drained of life, Edison races to expose the deadly process of recording and broadcasting dreams. Futurama in the house, but is the audience's own demand for the innovative new program too great to conquer? Hey, guess who plays Greg in this episode?
Oh, please say Greg Itzon.
It is not Greg Itzon.
What?
I'm sorry, it's not Greg Itzon. But it is a man who we talked about a lot in the past month. Ron Fassler.
Fast tracking to the Hall of Fame.
Episode 5, Wackets. Viewers are unable to tear their eyes away from a seemingly mindless new game show called Wackets. I have no idea what this show is about, so do not ask me.
What? Wackets?
It's called Wackets. Meanwhile, Big Time is finally on top of the ratings, but is Big Time just a pawn in a much larger game of addiction?
Probably.
Don't worry about it. Wait 37 years. It'll be rebooted in syndication as Flipside.
Oh, wait, you're serious?
I do not like that show. I almost said Steve Urkel. I know he's got a real name and it's Jaleel White. I like him. I don't like the show.
He played Sonic the Hedgehog in the 90s, Mike.
I get that. I've got his freaking autograph. I had this picture with him
He's
like
a friend
2.5 years ago. I know who he is. I know what a legend he is. I'm making fun of the game, not the person.
Oh, okay. Wackets.
Well, he said mindless new game show. That describes Flipside to a T.
It'd be true, though.
Let's not forget, while he and Eddie ate Waldo's cake, Carl Winslow was telling Harriet about the time that Sherman Hemsley's girlfriend was a stripper at the Boom Boom Room.
Now, would this be Harriet Winslow the first or Harriet Winslow the second?
No, this was definitely the first because this was an ABC era.
Okay, good.
And also, if we needed some reminder about the stripper at the Boom Boom Room, she was like 49 at the time.
Now, let's remember, folks, Mike is very ageist about his strippers.
Oh, God.
He does not believe in, like, cougar love.
No, I just don't want to see varicose veins.
Oh, Lord. Oh, we do have a name in this episode.
Oh, thank heavens.
You won't be saying that in a few seconds. Playing, I'm assuming, is the host of Wackets, Haskell, Bill Maher.
Let's screw that guy.
Oh man, the only thing worse is if Jon Stewart was in this episode.
So wait, you're telling me that Bill Maher is the Max Headroom equivalent of Jaleel White?
Yes. Episode 6, Neurostim. Zigzag comes up with a new promotional giveaway called the Neurostim Bracelet, which implants the perfect life into your imagination and gives you the drive to make it happen, no matter what the cost.
So Neurostim is the 1987 version of Nugenics. Got it. It's like they're telling the future. What's that? It's just Neurostim. Boy, wouldn't it be great if they had like a 1987 baseball player promoting Neurostim? Hey, Dave Kingman, what are you doing? I'm using my Neurostim bracelet.
At least it's a bracelet. And that's all I will say.
Well, that would explain why Dave Kingman would either hit a home run or he'd strike out. Because if you look at his stats with the Mets, it'd be like 40 home runs in like 1983 or whatever, and then 250 strikeouts.
He was Joey Gallo 40 years earlier. Oh my gosh.
Episode 7, Lessons. Education becomes a crime when blanks start pirating elite educational programming for poor children. That doesn't sound like something that could possibly happen.
Oh, I have to make an instant correction here. Dave Kingman only hit 13 home runs for the Mets in 1983 and 57 strikeouts. But you want to know what he had in 1982?
What did he have in 1982?
He had 37 home runs, and he struck out 156 times. And you're not going to believe this. He led the league in both home runs and strikeouts.
So yeah, about blanks pirating educational programming for poor children and how that's sort of foreshadowing for 2025.
This episode was actually called Lost Tapes, but in the run-up to its eventual demise, the title was quickly changed. And then there's an episode that either did or did not air, depending on what source you go to. Baby Grow Bags. An old friend of Theora's goes to the lab to pick up her in vitro baby, only to find out it's been kidnapped. Theora and Edison make it their personal mission to expose the truth behind the disappearance of Grow Bags and other babies. Playing Cornelia Firth, and she does look like a Cornelia Firth, Millicent Martin. Well-known actress, has been in a whole lot of everything. She was in 18 episodes of Frasier as Daphne Moon's mum, Gertrude. And she was in 20 episodes of Grace and Frankie on Netflix. According to IMDb, this particular episode wasn't aired in America until 1995, 7 years after the show was canceled. I'm guessing it aired on Sci-Fi because that would make logical sense.
From what I saw, it looks like it aired in Australia originally.
It also aired on Channel 4 along with the rest of the series. When ABC renewed the show, they put it, are you ready for this? On Friday night.
Well, this is before TJIF was a thing, so I get it to a point, but the shows that surrounded it, I don't get that. Because if we look at 8 o'clock, that was Full House, so that's the first season of Full House. 8:30 was I Married Dora, and then you had Max Headroom at 9, and then 10 o'clock you've got 2020. So it's like almost a mishmash of TV shows. You've got your family comedies at 8, and then you've got this dystopian 1984, whatever you want to call it, at 9, and then you have hard-hitting news at 10. Kind of weird. And I know that 2020's aired on Friday nights for many, many, many years, but it just seems like they sort of threw whatever television shows didn't work out on other days into a blender and just said, okay, we're going to just throw it on Friday nights.
Mike, you don't even know the half of it.
Well, no, I know the half of it because I know what the schedule was.
They put it on Friday nights at 9. On NBC, you had Miami Vice. And on CBS, you had Dallas.
Yeah, we could have almost said it together because how many times have we talked about 9 o'clock on Fridays and what's on CBS? Dallas. I mean, it was that way from like 78 until 91 or whenever Dallas ended. Yeah, you're not beating Dallas. Miami Vice, maybe you're beating. But, well, the thing, I see you shaking your head. You got to remember, Miami Vice at this point would have been third season. And I don't think Miami Vice lasted more than 4 seasons. I think it was gone by 89. So, maybe it hit its peak in 85, 86, and now it's sort of on the decline. But truth be told, if we take a look at the ratings, I bet you Miami Vice's ratings weren't that good. I have ratings from the second week of September of 1987, and 70 shows aired. Max Headroom was 60th. That week, Dallas came in tied for 50th with Webster and TV show that we brought up quite a bit as of late, maybe eventual cover, The Bronx Zoo. Miami Vice finished tied for 34th with Cagney and Lacey. So, yeah, you got 34th and you got 50th, and then here's Max Headroom sitting at 60th. And really, among shows that regularly aired, it only beat like 4 or 5 other shows that week. It beat my Money in the Bank pick for March, Sledgehammer, which was 61st. 62nd, I think we're going to get a visit from Alan, because 62nd was Animal Crack-Ups.
Yeah, I hosted Animal Crack-Ups. You guys liked Animal Crack-Ups, right?
On Saturday mornings, not as a primetime game show. Who didn't see Animal Crack-Up reruns in like the late 80s, early 90s? With the cute little hedgehog. Can we talk about the cute little hedgehog on Animal Crack-Ups? That was so adorable.
It was adorable. I loved the shit out of that hedgehog.
Y'all know it was based on a Japanese show that Vin DePota saw while working overseas.
Yes, just like America's Funniest Home Videos, right.
You know my brother worked on America's Funniest Home Videos, right?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, your brother's John Fugelsang. No. Yes, Todd Thick worked on America's Funniest Home Videos.
Did you actually just dig up a reference to John Fugelsang?
Damn right I did.
Jeez. And actually, this is the second time this week I've heard the name John Fugelsang, because he's actually doing stand-up at a college like 15 miles from here. I think he's doing it tomorrow night. I'm not going. Oh, hey, there are 2 other shows that regularly aired that Max Headroom beat that week. Simon & Simon was 69th.
Nice!
You see, that's why I didn't jump directly to 70th. I wanted you guys to get your little wording out. But 70th, this is something we're going to cover in about 2 months. Absolute worst rated show of the week was The Charmings. Oh, I cannot wait to roast the ever-loving hell out of that show. Sorry, Christopher Rich.
There were a couple of spec scripts floating about at the time of the show's cancellation. Fiora's Tale, The Trial, and Xmas, which was written by a very famous person, George R.R. Martin.
Really?
Yeah, really. This was before his Songs of Ice and Fire were warped into, some would say, 1 season too many of Game of Thrones. House of the Dragon more than makes up for it, by the way. Just saying.
Oh, I did have one more week of ratings I wanted to share. This is from the second full week of October of 1987. Again, 70 shows. There's no variance in that. I think this is the death knell right here. Max Headroom came in at 66th. So it literally beat 4 shows. And actually, it looks like one of them was a special. It beat Legwork on CBS, Everything's Relative on CBS, and West 57th on CBS. So it is literally the worst rated regular TV series on ABC that week. Even Sledgehammer did better. 64th.
ABC did rerun the entire series during the Writers Guild of America strike of the spring of '88. And in the late 1990s, Sci-Fi, Bravo, and Tech TV took various turns rerunning the whole series. It was released on home video thanks to our good friends at Shout Factory and their license from Warner Brothers Home Entertainment in 2010, which features a roundtable discussion with most of the cast members. Sadly, Matt Frewer was busy with other things.
And if you'd like to buy it on DVD, it is available on Amazon as we speak for a low, low price of $26.59. But if you don't want to pay money for this, and really, who would blame you if you don't want to pay money for this, you can get all the episodes on demand right now on Plex.
Now, you would think that this would be the end of the Max Headroom story. It is not. It was reported in 2022 that a reboot of the show and the character was announced, with Halt and Catch Fire co-creator Christopher Cantwell set to serve as the showrunner. Original actor Matt Frewer is slated to reprise his role in the revived series. And honestly, who else could fill that plastic face?
Well, trust me, it's now 37 years later. It's not really a plastic face. It's more like a Botoxed face, like peeled back. Hey, guys, do you remember me from the 80s? Max Headroom is back.
By the way, also involved in the reboot, Elijah Wood.
Okay, that could be good.
Max Headroom, in between that series, his heyday, as it were, and today, he has popped up all over the place. He was in BoJack Horseman. He was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He was in a music video for Selena Gomez, Love You Like a Love Song. He was sent up on Family Matters that one time when Urkel did a whole thing with an atomic bomb and a dream sequence. You remember that episode?
Oh, yeah, that was nightmare fuel, that episode.
I remember Max Headroom. This would have been around 1987, 1986. He was in the music video for the song Paranoia from Art of Noise. And that really was my first exposure to him, because I never saw the Max Headroom TV show that was in the UK. And I'm sure I may remember him from New Coke ads. But yeah, he is all over the place in the Paranoia video. Paranoia, Paranoia, Paranoia. It's an acquired taste, but it's one of those songs that I enjoyed as little 11-year-old Mikey.
They played that on 80s on 8 all the time.
Well, they could play it on 80s at 8 all the time. The video is what sells it, in my opinion.
Well, what can we say? Max Headroom, he was a man who was quite literally light years ahead of anything that we've ever seen or heard in both television and the public conscience. He became an instant pop culture phenom. He was everywhere you wanted to be and everywhere you didn't want to be, and he gave us a glimpse of a future that's 30 some odd years later starting to creep in. But in 1987, Max Headroom was a thing on TV.
Damn it, he is conky. Hey, Pee-wee, come sit on me. You can find us at our website, itwasthethingontv.com, on Facebook at It Was The Thing on TV Podcast, and elsewhere at It Was The Thing on TV. You can find us on any podcast player And we're also on YouTube, where you can subscribe to our channel to keep up to date with our releases, including what's coming up next time.
So, guys, we talked about Max Headroom. I got a question. What if some guy somewhere decided, you know what, I'm kind of annoyed by the Chicago broadcasting scene for whatever reason. How about I just pretend to be Max Headroom and make a total ass of myself?
Sounds like something that would happen, as Edison Carter would put it, very much live and direct.
Yeah, but you'll find all about that in our next thing on TV. Thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll see you with that installment on Thursday. Row!
You know, people always come up to me on the street and they say, Regis, what will television... And they say to me, what will television be like in the future? Well, you know, if I don't shove them away and utter obscenities, I usually reply by saying, it's hard to tell, but I do know one thing for sure. Talk shows will be using more and more computer-generated guests. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that in mind, we'd like to offer you a glimpse at that brave new world tonight from the advanced video technology of RCA. Folks, please say hello to Larry Bud Headroom.
I'll just take this right off. You turned on? There he is.
It's great to be here. But by the way, my skull really hurts. I may pass out at any minute.
Okay. All right, hold on there, Larry. First, let me tell you a few facts here about our own Larry Bud Headroom. Number one. Mr. Bud Headroom's hair is a synthetic fiber made by DuPont. It may serve as a flotation device in the unlikely event of a water landing. Number two, generating Mr. Bud Headroom requires the simultaneous interface of all mainframe computers on the East Coast. Therefore, all air traffic will be on visual flight rules for the duration of tonight's segment. And finally, Mr. Bud Headroom is not in any way related to other popular computer-generated television personalities. Any similarity is strictly coincidental. Larry, take it away.
Hey, hello. I'm Larry Bud Headroom. I'm here to answer your questions about personal matters, financial matters, and affairs of the heart. Let's get right to the first one, please.
Okay.
I've only got enough air for about 5 minutes.
Okay, fine. Who has the first question for Mr. Headroom tonight? What is your name, sir?
Adam Langus.
Adam, where are you from?
Plainview, Long Island.
What do you do for a living in Plainview?
I'm a manager at Haagen-Dazs.
A manager at Haagen-Dazs?
Right.
I think that speaks for itself. Now, what is your question for Larry Bud Headroom?
I want to know where I can go to get $20,000 so I can open up my own business.
Where can he go to get this kind of money, Larry?
Well, I'll tell you, pal. You haven't got a prayer. You look to me like a banker's nightmare. I don't even think they'd let you deposit money if you had any. Just keep checking payphones and waiting room sofas for loose change. You'll soon have your money in about 1,000 years. Bob Rooney, please give this nice person an assortment of fluorescent tubes.
Unfortunate G, nice meeting you. Good luck to you, sir. Who's next here? Hi, what's your name, sir?
Rob Grossman.
Where are you from, Rob?
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia, lovely city. You folks from Philadelphia? It's quite a ball game yesterday, wasn't it?
Great ball.
Yeah, very close.
Would have been better for what it... Talking about the Phillies.
Yeah, no. I was talking about the Eagles.
Great
and the,
game.
yeah, okay.
They'll get them next time.
And what do you do for a living there?
I do the marketing for the Spectrum.
Well, you advertise for the sports arena there?
That's correct.
Okay, and what is your question tonight, sir?
My question is, I am going to be a first-time father in the not-too-distant future. Any advice?
Robert, you've got a lot of challenges and responsibilities ahead of you. That's why I suggest you do what I did. Go out for that loaf of bread or that pack of cigarettes and never come back. Your conscience will bother you at first, But nothing helps the healing process like an endless parade of fabulous babes. Bob Rooney, please get this nice person in
Okay, here comes your assortment of bulbs. There you go, Rob.
Thank
Lovely.
you.
Thanks, Bob. Nice meeting you. Good luck with your family. Thank you very much. We have one more? We have time for one more question for Larry, but hi. Is this you? What is your name, ma'am?
Marty Larkin.
Where are you from? Oh, you said, what did you say?
Marty Larkin.
Marty, nice to have you here. Where are you from?
Springfield, Pennsylvania.
And what do you do for a living in Springfield?
I'm a registered nurse.
Oh, well, that's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
You like being a registered nurse?
Love it.
Registered nurse means you can do pretty much anything, right?
Right.
Okay. On a little break here tonight?
Yeah.
What is your question for Larry?
Larry, I work in a hospital. And there's this doctor who's constantly asking me out, and I've been trying to avoid it. And do you have any suggestions for me?
You're never going to discourage this medical Casanova. No, you'll have to kill him. And who better than a nurse? Your access to razor-sharp instruments and your knowledge of anatomy make it easy. So easy. The hard part will be stopping at just one. Bob Rooney, please get this nice person an assortment of fluorescent tubes.
There you are, Marty. Thanks, Bob. Nice meeting you. Thank you for coming up tonight. Good luck to you. Is that it? Okay. Thank you very much, Larry. We'll be right back. Joe Cocker.